Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another stream. I was supposed to do this Friday, but I actually won't be here Friday. I'll explain all that. Friday was the day where the temperatures would be right, so I'm not roasting here. Did something different with the air conditioners today, and it's bearable. It's about 88 to 90 degrees, maybe. So it's bearable for probably about an hour or so. And because, like I said, I thought I was going to do Friday because the temperatures were going to be a little bit better, but it ain't going to happen because I won't be here. So we're going to do that tonight. And I don't have, we'll get to the chat in a moment. I don't have anything in particular that I'm going to talk about tonight other than the direction, a lot of the direction of the channel that I'm going to be doing. If you've followed the channel, I uploaded a short video, and what was it called? It was called The Clowns of Antarctica. And I did that in the short format. I think it was like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, maybe tops. And I'll ask you guys what you think of that kind of format, short and sweet type of thing. But there's some disadvantages to it. My premise there was, one of the premises of the things that were wrong with the people that went to Antarctica, supposedly. I don't know if they really were there. And I pointed out in the video, all they had to do was give us some altitude, angles of the sun, and they didn't do it. And I find it strange that one of the oldest techniques for showing where you are was not used. I just find that really strange. And what I couldn't, what I didn't have time in the video to talk about was I absolutely 100% do not believe they were from the Arctic Circle South. And I'll explain why. I did extensive research on that part of it. Nobody is allowed from the Arctic Circle South. Nobody, unless you are military or very specialized scientists going even farther south on a mission. Those are the two categories that can get in. Not people wanting to show a 24-hour sun. This is like way levels higher than that before you can get permission to go that far south. And so I really question. Now, they may have thought they were there. And if you're not at the Arctic Circle South, you're not going to have a 24-hour sun in what we think is the model. Now, if we have a firmament and the sun is low on the angle of the firmament, you can get a 24-hour sun at a certain degree south all the way around. That's it. That's the other thing. They're assuming that the model that they think is the model is the one that has to be the one that shows, oh, well, we know what the flat earth model is. We know what the globe earth model is. So if we see a 24-hour sun, it means it's the globe earth model. Well, that's bull crap. And we know it's bull crap, and that the sun shines through the firmament because we have different angles of rainbows depending on your latitude. The further north or south you get, the lower and lower the angle of the rainbow. We're told it's whatever it is, 23 or 24 degrees. I can't remember the number, but in the middle latitudes where most of us live, that's generally what it is. And we don't notice a difference if we're in Texas, for example, or southern Canada, because there's just not that much to note difference. But when you start getting really far north or south, you start getting aberrations that way, indicating that the sun shining through the firmament is getting lower and lower and lower. And people have demonstrated, I think fairly convincingly, that if you are, if the sun is shining through a firmament, which it has to be when you look at sprites and things like that, you can get a 24-hour sun. even if the sun is not, you don't even have to be that far south because of the angle it's shining through. Imagine a paperweight that's made out of, you. Most people have seen them. They're clear glass or close to clear glass, and they're humped. All right, and you can put the paperweight down and stuff. Well, if you shine a light through that at a low angle, it'll light the entire ring, even though the sun is only at one location. And I tried to demonstrate that a long time ago, using a glass and moving the glass and looking at the sun, and then moving the camera relative to the glass and looking at the sun. It's a totally two different things. And we obviously are looking through a glass because we have a firmament. The firmament is proven by rainbows. You need two reflectors for a rainbow. Two. You have to have two reflectors. No doubt about it. They cannot create a rainbow indoors unless sunlight is in there. Okay, that's one way. But if it's artificial light, they need two light sources. Or, I'm sorry, they need two ways to bend the light is what they need. So I don't think they were, in fact, I would, if I had money, I would bet that they were not at the Arctic Circle or lower. Plenty of people can go to quote unquote Antarctica, this northern peninsula that sticks out. You can even go to the southern part of the northern peninsula, and it's quite a bit different than the northern part. But you don't get below the Arctic Circle. Again, I did extensive research on it. You have to be like a top-notch, world-renowned scientific team, which they weren't. Jaron. Oh, I'm Jaron. I do Flat Earth Channel. Can I have permission to go below the Arctic Circle? Yeah, okay. Or military. Those are the two. That's it. So I did that little video to show that. But like I said, the disadvantage of a 2 or 3 minute video is you can't get into that kind of detail. You can with a longer one. I intend on doing more of those type of videos, whether shorter or longer. I guess it'll depend on the content that I'm trying to cover. I've got a good video of Neil deGrasse Tyson making one blunder after the other that I can use to show his ignorance, or to show the ignorance of people that believe he's actually a legit scientist. And he even makes admissions. For example, like if you go to Google or any of the search engines or any of the AIs, okay, any of the AI agents, artificial intelligence, AI chat, LLMs, and you type in what are the proofs that the earth is round, it'll come up with the Rastonese. You know, the BS artists back in whenever, 500 years ago. And I think I'm going to do a video on that. Measure, you know, the sun's in the well, straight up and down on this time of year. And if you go over here and measure the same thing, it's different. Well, it could be either caused by a curve of the earth or the angle of the sun is different. And Neil deGrasse Tyson explains that. He said Eratosthenes had to use 3 minimum, which is correct. It's like GPS coordinates. You need 3 minimum to tell. Well, let's ask a couple questions. That was done, I don't know, 500 years ago. How come nobody has done it since? You only need 3 measurements. And even then, guess what? It's one or the other. It works if it's flat and it works if it's round. Just like the stars. It works if they're rotating around us and it works if we're rotating. But Google or these AI bots, they will give that as a proof that the earth is round, and their own shill of a scientist, so to speak, Neil deGrasse Tyson, said, no, that wasn't good enough. At least he admits it. Any kind of background in mathematics, and you hear that he took 2 points and proved whatever he tried to prove. I think it was the shape of the earth. Can't do it. Can't do it with two. And my question is, how come no one's, if it takes three, according to Neil deGrasse Tyson, why doesn't Neil deGrasse Tyson have scientists go out and measure 3 different points? In fact, you don't have to. All you need is date and time, pick 3 different points on the earth, and guess what you end up with? Oh, it works if it's a globe, and it works if it's flat. So it proves nothing. But that is what we're given. You know, it's garbage in, garbage out. If you tell AI this is the proof, that's what it'll come back with. And then you have to argue with it. Well, how can you tell? Because he only took 2 points. Well, then, you make a good point. Garbage in, garbage out. So he's made a couple of statements that are just unbelievably stupid that I have on a video, including the Eratosthenes thing. And I think it's time to start refreshing people's minds about the subject so that the subject doesn't stagnate. We need a new generation of people to be exposed to it. Anybody that can share either my stuff or Eric Dubay's stuff, please do. Because now I'm not going to just do that, but I'm going to be doing more and more videos like that. So let's see who we have here. Michael B. Good to see you. It's Mr. Super Sidewinder. Good to see you as well. I'll comment on this one. Scripture speak of 4 corners, all eyes seen our Savior return, fixed and immovable, and stamped as clay beneath the sealed ring. Now I've got a different orientation for the microphone because I was going to do some videos where I was standing up. So if there's a problem hearing, just let me know and I'll try to do what I can to change it. But it should be fairly good. And when you actually look up that word in the Bible, it's more like 4 quadrants of the earth. So it can be corners, but it also can be quadrants, meaning like north, south, east, and west. So we have to be careful a little bit with 4 corners or whatever. I don't believe, since the Bible says he pressed it out like a seal, I believe it's round. I could be wrong, but when you take that word can mean quadrant, and you have where he pressed it out like a seal, and also Isaiah says it's circular, it's round, but not a ball. You know, Isaiah is the only one who uses ball in the whole Bible. And it's not a coincidence because the Holy Spirit anticipates future heresies and does the right thing. So Isaiah knew what the word ball was. He said, I shall toss, or you shall be tossed like a ball. And then it talked about the earth being round. Totally different word. A pizza is round. It's not a ball. So good to see you, Mr. Super. Mark Harris, hello. Good to see you. And Tony Coriolis, Focal Shift. Whale Oil Beef is here. And Chipper66, who's going to catch the replay. Awesomeness. What you saying there, Whale? My friend is a retired mariner and has been on cargo ships in the South. He told me there's a ship chart that warns them if they are getting too far south, as in turn around. I know when I was in the Navy, it took forever to get places. East-west, as you were traveling, it took forever. First noticed it when we were in South America. Really noticed it when we were going to Australia. Unbelievable. Africa to Australia. It took 60 days. I don't remember how many past that it took to get from Africa to Australia. 60 some days. And the reason why I know it was 60 days was you're allowed to have 2 beers. Ooh. If you're out at sea 60 straight days. And on the 60th day, we had 2 beers, and we weren't in Australia yet. So it was 60 some days, maybe 70. I don't remember. And I was in the weather office. I knew we were steaming there every day. So why did it take so long? Didn't think about it much then, other than you're thinking, well, it's taking forever. And you think that's just because you're in the situation you're in. You just want to get off the ship and go see some land somewhere. So I will be at Michael's house this Friday. And not sure exactly. I could actually do a stream from there if I am going to take my computer because I have some work to do. But I don't know what the situation will be there. If I'm watching the dog is extremely needy. He won't let you alone. So we'll see. But I doubt it. That's why I'm doing it tonight. So expect to see more stuff, and particularly flat Earth stuff, because I want to return to it. So anyway, that's that. What's up with everybody else? I've been my car has been broken since last Monday, not this Monday, last Monday. I was heading home, almost home, 1 minute away, and all of a sudden my air conditioning stopped working. And then I heard this sound, sound. And when I gunned the engine, the sound would go away. But I was very close to the house, so I didn't know what it was. My brother thought it was a bearing in one of the belts, whatever. And as it turns out, it's the air conditioning clutch, or the air conditioning compressor went bad, and the clutch in that, whatever that is. I'm not a mechanic for sure. I'm anti-mechanic. It's locked all the time, apparently. And I would just drive it hot as it is. I'll survive that, but you can't, because they said if you drive it, it will, it can lock up and it can overheat and you can ruin your engine. So anyway, I've been dealing with people that haven't shown up to do the work, and the other people that will do the work, they cost too much. I've got it all finally, I think, worked out, but I'm going to be without my car till next week. In fact, Michael is coming to pick me up tomorrow. That's how I'm getting to his house. So it's been interesting. Yeah, that's exactly what he thought at first, Whale. Exactly what he thought. I did have it diagnosed, and that's what they said it was. Yep, the 60th parallel is the cutoff point, and I guaranteed it. I'd like to see the permission they got in writing to go below that. You don't go there. I mean, look at any of the Google it, whatever, research it, use AI or whatever. They'll all tell you the same thing. You can't get to the Arctic Circle and south unless you're in one of those two groups. And they're not in one of those two groups. Where were they? Well, we would have known if they would have given us the altitude of the sun. We would have known. If I was to go there, that would be the first thing I would think of, was to take a sextant. The first thing. And you had 4 people that are into this and didn't think about it. Okay. It doesn't pass the sniff test to me. It just doesn't. And again, because you don't know either model, which one is true, because you can't prove either model to be true or false, you're guessing. And so if you do see a 24-hour sun, you have no idea really why you are. You can't guarantee and prove it. But they came to the conclusion that the earth is round because of that. Okay. That's bullshit science. That's worse than what the scientists actually do. Sissy May, hello, Sissy May. Good to see you. Dr. Bass Ackwards, hello. There are so few people who have actually witnessed said phenomenon. It's just convenient that no one's allowed to go there. Exactly. And why did they have to go there? Because nobody has 24/7, no cuts, no bull crap in their video of the 24-hour sun. If it existed, and everyone I've ever seen has been torn apart. It looks good, but you get people that are expert at looking at this stuff. They're like, no, that's not right. Look, there's a jump here, or that's missing. Something's not right here. And there's a bunch of other stuff that's really suspect about their trip. There's one video where it looks exactly like they're green screening. It's even got the line down the right side of the screen. Can you explain that? Oh, it's cold, Rich. Is that it? The sky never changes color at all this whole time. Do they ever get clouds change or what? I don't know. I actually tried to find a link to their videos, and I kept getting BS from other people, either pro or con. I don't want that. I want the I want to see what they did. I'm sure I'm on the wrong channel, but I don't care enough. I care enough to know, or to ask the question, did they use a sextant? No, they didn't. It's the first thing they should have all thought of. The very first thing. But it wasn't cold. That's because of global warming, Super. Is that the reason why nobody's or at least that's what people say, that nobody had vapor coming out of their mouth? And then I think I heard that. And then someone was arguing, well, it's so dry that, are you serious? Here in Arizona, it doesn't get drier than here. 2% humidity, 3% humidity. When it gets cold in the winter, it's rare, but when it does, you can easily see your breath. The moisture is the relative humidity necessary to see your breath is not really required by the outside. When you exhale, you're exhaling 80-90% relative humidity because you have moisture in your mouth that's you're expelling. Now, it may not reach far if it's very dry out, but the source is definitely moist enough. All you have to do is have cold temperatures. I've seen my and I didn't know when I first came here. I was like, oh, I wonder if I can see my breath when it's cold. I would walk Charlie, be like 40 degrees, not that cold, 40 degrees, 5-6 degrees Fahrenheit, Celsius. I could see my breath. I could see Charlie's breath. Relative humidity, less than 10%. Did TFE use an astrolabe? As far as I know, they used nothing like that. Like I said, I can't find the entire video. I can find people commenting on it, and people have commented. They didn't give you any sun angles. None. What good is it? I could go to the middle part of Alaska, show you a 24-hour sun. Couldn't I? Yeah, of course I could. And guess what? If I had a sextant, I could make it work. It would work right with where I'm at. But you wouldn't know if I was 65 degrees north or 65 degrees south. Because if I didn't release the video till 6 months later, I could say I'm in the Antarctic. I could do it. Oh, Sissy May, I'm so jealous. It's been in the low to mid 100s here. We just cannot catch a break. Again, Friday, I'll catch a break, but I won't be here. So that's why we're doing this tonight. So expect more now that I have to get my car fixed and all that. Once I get all that taken care of, and maybe before, I'll upload some more stuff. But I would appreciate it if you see it, you just post it on social media somewhere. I'm trying to get the interest back up again because they're not going to spread the word. YouTube isn't. Are you kidding me? They're going to shadow ban. That's why you don't see me mention certain things in videos. That's why the title of this has FE in it. I asked Jan why the trip didn't conclude in Australia to confirm the same flying hours as arriving. And he said, why would we do that? Ask Jaron why they didn't take anything to measure the angle of the sun. Why would we do that? I wouldn't do that. I want to just make money off switching sides. I can get on Simon Dan and get all kind of people now that'll follow me because I was a FE'er and now I switched. And again, if I went there and let's just say I was sick, I was convinced I was at 70 degrees south, let's say, whatever, it's far enough south, and I saw a 24-hour sun, there is no way in hell I would conclude the shape of the earth one way or the other by that. No way. It's like you get hiccups and say, oh, you must have a heart condition. It's a mixed match. Looking up at the sun is not going to tell you the shape of what you're standing on. That's right, Mr. Super. Never follow isms. And again, I don't usually have this with people very often, but some people I just don't, I get bad vibes from, and I avoid them. The moment I saw Jaron in person, I got that and did not interact with him whatsoever. Had no desire to do so. My only desire was to get away from there. And that's what I did. I interacted with everybody else that was around. I did not interact with him and he did not interact with me. And I didn't want to. I had the vibe. Australia means southern, Aust, path of sun. Austin means magnificent. Well, Wilts means white side or from white slopes, from translate southern sun from magnificent white slopes. Oh, interesting. That's pretty cool. Well, it's just Jaron was hypnotized as an MK Ultra style, but that's just your opinion. I don't think there's any. Personally, my opinion is it's convenient. People aren't like him, and there's nothing against this, but people like his channel. Who was the channel that it was it might have been the biggest flat earth channel. It had that guy that used to come on here who passed away, unfortunately. It's where I saw the thumbnail of the weatherman standing in Chicago that got me into it in the first place. And yes, Bob, thank you. Ghostbusters. Very good. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Them, Jaron, and 2 or 3 others that were like mega big in it. they were making a lot of money in it. And again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I made money in it too. I didn't have a mega channel like theirs, but I did get up to 50,000 subscribers at one point until the truth hurt too bad and they took my channel down. And what's funny is everything I talked about that they took the channel down for is true. Proven true now. It's no longer a conspiracy. It's proven true. Okay? Like masks don't help you at all. That type of thing. And if you took the jab, you're really risking yourself because there were no decent studies on it. There couldn't be. It came out weeks after they started developing. How could they have decent studies on it? Anyway, that's just too common sense. So I got strikes for that. And one thing I guess you could say still conspiracy theory because it hasn't been totally proven out yet. But the 2020 election. Again, I've been watching elections since I was 12 years old, 11 years old, 1972. I watched every single election since then. Every single one. I even caught the one when I was in the Navy because I happened to be home. It was the first time I ever voted that election day. Never saw anything like 2020, ever. And I called what was happening live, that they were stealing it, and they were. And I don't know if you people know this. I'll get to you here in a second, Will. Let me star that. I don't know if you noticed, but there's a guy, a whistleblower, who came forth, a truck driver, who testified that he brought in a whole truckload of ballots from New York to Pennsylvania for election night. The absentee ballots, that's how they did it. Well, he's been ostracized, I think even thrown in jail. All he did was testify that's what he did. And then you hear these a-holes. No court has found any evidence of tampering in the 2020 election. And it's gone to like 30 courts or whatever the number is. This is true. Guess how many of those 30 courts or whatever the number is actually looked at it? 0. Nobody had standing. Not even Trump. Nobody had standing. Trump went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court says you don't have standing in the election. Well, if Trump doesn't, who does? Not one court looked at it. Now, there's a caveat to that. Later, a Wisconsin, was it Wisconsin? Yes. A Wisconsin court looked at it. They determined, they got all the evidence or whatever, and they said, yes, there was cheating in the election and they didn't follow the law. One freaking place did that. Now, there are legislatures in Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, I think, all came to the conclusion on their own, yes, they did not follow the law, and there was chicanery that went on. So, yeah, even though no court has determined it, it's because no court has looked at it. And you don't have to be you can be a casual observer of elections. You don't have sudden 100,000 votes being found, and 97% of them or more are for one candidate. It doesn't happen. That didn't even happen in Nazi Germany. No, nothing to see here. Did anyone hear of Patricia Steele returned to Flat Earth? I don't know. I know she contacted me not too long ago. We just basically said hi. Yeah, Arizona's still recounting votes. And did you know they tried, the legislature tried to pass a law so that we would do it rapidly? Next time, the governor rejected it. And the reason is because that gives them the opportunity to cheat. Cheating happened in the last 2 elections, at least in Arizona, for governor, for senator, and for president. No question about it. None. Yeah, well, Bear, it's been a while. Too hot. Way too hot to do it. My air conditioner doesn't keep up in here. But I did something different today. I left my bedroom door open and kept this air conditioner going. And it got it to where it got below 90 degrees. So I was like, okay, I can do an hour or so in 90 degrees. I won't do that often because that's going to cost me a lot in air conditioning fees, because that condenser has not shut off since I did it, because it's trying to cool the whole house. It's doing okay. It's making it so I can do this. So anyway, that's why my channel was taken down. And it's going to be, I don't know, 6 months to a year. All the proof you need for the election is going to be out. It's going to be there. In fact, the pillow guy, he's got all the proof. He's got all the data, the actual data from the machines that shows how they did it. No court will look at it. Well, they're going to have to in the next 6 months to a year. Now, I wanted to get back to that one comment. Robbie Davidson told me he's only going to do flat earth debates on his Celebrate Truth channel to make up for him lying about flat earth. WTF. Well, if Robbie Davidson said that, being a Christian, then he's going against Scripture. I like Robbie Davidson, but how can you go against Scripture? If you're a Christian, how can you go against Scripture? How can you go against, he fixed the earth that it shall not move? Where's the wiggle room in that? He fixed the earth that it shall not move. What do you do with that? He pressed it out like a seal. I mean, there's so many things. What, over 200 scriptures? I actually probably 250. I've come across other scriptures that, if you really think about it and look at it and look at it in the context of cosmology, it's another verification. It's sort of like, yes, right, Mike Lindell. Thank you, Whale. You're filling in a lot of holes tonight. You have to ask yourself, what was the original motivation? And I've heard Robbie Davidson defend it from the Christian point of view, from Scripture. So I don't know how you change that. But it's like what I was about to say was, it's like once you know that there's universal salvation, you see it everywhere. It's all over. It's almost on every page, in every story. It's all over the place. People don't want to believe it. I get it. They've been brainwashed. He holds all in disbelief so that he shall have mercy on all. He's the Savior of all mankind, especially those who believe. So he's the Savior of non-believers and believers. He takes away the sin of the world. How many scriptures do you need to say the hell doctrine I was taught is bullshit? He reconciles all things to himself, whether they be in heaven, on the earth, or under the earth. Reconciles means make right again. All things, no exception. Look it up. People want to believe what they've been propagandized into. You can't get them out. It's like 99% of the people, they believe we live on a spinning ball. And when I go to this wedding in November, I'm going to be there with my physicist nephew and my chemist brother-in-law. And the physics nephew, he made a comment to my sister, why does Rich believe the earth is flat? Like, that's crazy. Well, he's going to defend science. I'm just going to start out with, okay, you believe the earth is a spinning ball. Give me your proof. Your scientific proof. You're a physicist. And if he gives you what Neil deGrasse Tyson gives you, we have photos and videos of the earth from space. Bullshit. If we can't see it and it can be manipulated, that's not scientific proof. The scientific method is repeatable, demonstratable. Okay? You demonstrate and you can repeat it. Demonstrate, repeat it. How does a rocket move in space? I've got it demonstrated that it doesn't. I have never seen them demonstrate that it does, other than they'll put a rocket or something in a very small enclosed vacuum chamber and they fire it up and it moves. Well, the one I showed, and I got to find that before the wedding, it's in a big enough container. The gas comes out of the rocket, so to speak. Nothing happens. It doesn't move a microsecond. I mean, a micro inch. It doesn't move at all. And you can see the gas, because it's cloudy, hits the side of the walls. It's expanding because that's what gas does when it's in a vacuum. It expands to try to fill it. It comes back and then it hits the quote unquote rocket and it's doing all kind of crazy stuff then. Initially, it doesn't move. This is basic science. If you can't push against something, and they come up with the bull crap. Oh, inertia. And, because of that, you can do it. It's like, you're a freaking fool. And there's some simple stuff with that, too. If a rocket was in space, no gravity, right? As soon as you pop out of the atmosphere, there's no gravity, basically, until they explained, it's 1 million miles away from the Earth that the sun and the Earth are equally pulling. Anyway, they take the gloves off as soon as they pop out of the Earth's atmosphere, and they float. So there's really no forces being acted upon them, so to speak. So we're to believe. So you get a rocket, and if that gas is off just a centimeter as it comes out or whatever, the thing will start to flip over and over or spin, spiral out of control, and it'll never come back into control because there's never anything to bring it back. The gas coming out has to be perfect every single time. I mean, like, perfect. Any little bit of, and nothing's perfect. And the BS that I used to swallow just by, remember the movie Apollo 13? And they used the moon's gravity to slingshot themselves back to the Earth. Yeah, okay. Meanwhile, the whole time they're going around the moon, they're floating. But the gravity grabs the ship. They're in orbit, but they somehow escape it and head back towards the Earth. But in the sequence, which was supposed to be, I'm sure they covered exactly what really supposedly happened, the script. They're off course. Of course they would be. How the hell? Anyway, so they're like halfway back or whatever. And Tom Hanks, the leading actor in it, he talks to NASA and says, wait a minute, all we need is one fixed point in space, right? Well, we have it. It's the Earth. So he fires the rocket, and it's doing all kind of crazy crap back and forth. And he's roughly got the Earth in the window while he's doing it. And then NASA says, well, that's good enough. You're shooting at the Earth where it is now. The Earth is moving 8,000 miles per hour away from where they aim towards. And not only that, they just happen to hit where they're supposed to land in the Pacific within a couple miles. Are you freaking kidding me? There's no rocket that's it. That was the last burn. And in normal cases, they don't even do that because, the gravity just shot them in the magic direction. But so not only are they chasing an Earth that's moving at 8,000 miles per hour, spinning at 1,040 miles per hour, they just happened each freaking time to land within a 2 to 4 mile radius of where the Navy ship is in the Pacific. And if you think that's real, I mean, please send me some money. I got many things I promise I'll deliver to you. Just give me a little time. When you think the things through that we've just bought, hook, line, and sinker, it's nuts. And then my physicist, PhD, nephew, I'm going to hit him with, what about Michelson Morley? What about Michelson Gale? What about Sagnac? What about Aries failure? And there's been one since Aries failure, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was another sort of telescope Earth moving thing. And guess what it showed? The Earth isn't moving. The stars are. That's 5 different things that you can demonstrate and repeat. And every time it's going to show you the Earth doesn't move. Every time. Demonstratable and repeatable. That's science. And he's got a PhD. I'm actually interested to see how many of those he's heard of. I remember somebody interviewed some physics students who were ready to graduate, probably master's or bachelor's, not PhD level. And they were asking them about those. Michelson Morley, Michelson Gale, Sagnac, et cetera, we never heard of it. They never even taught it. I wonder why. And then you get the bull crap when you bring it up to somebody who knows something about it. A Simon Dan or the professor. Not the skipper, just the professor. They're both clown world, but still. Oh, no, that was testing for... it wasn't testing to see if the Earth moved. It was testing to see if there was my brain is so fried tonight. An ether. See if we were moving through the ether. Or if there was an ether. And they all said there wasn't one. Well, that violates something else. Einstein said, their hero, there has to be an ether. Why? Because sound waves and light waves are the same. They're just on different frequencies. Einstein said there has to be a medium, like an ether, for sunlight to travel through to get to the Earth. He's absolutely correct. Except it's not an ether. It's moisture. An atmosphere. We're in a sealed system. There's no place without moisture. There's no place without atmosphere. And so sunlight can travel through it. Just like if you take all the air out, you can't hear any sound. Well, you can't see anything either. It's just a different frequency. It makes no difference. You have to have a medium for it to go through. So if these experiments that they did showed that there was no ether, and that was their conclusion, then what the hell is sunlight getting to us? They didn't answer it. Einstein said when you do this experiment, you're going to show an ether because sunlight propagates to us. Nobody ever addresses that. And so, okay, fine, the ether doesn't exist. It showed there is no movement of the earth, each one of them. What are you going to do with that? Nothing. And what the reason why Einstein is a hero is he gave them the answer. Well, light shrinks in the direction of movement, and it just so happens to shrink perfectly in the direction of movement of the earth, so you could never measure it. Oh, isn't that freaking convenient? Except guess what? It doesn't work with Airy's failure. Airy's failure has to do with tipping of the telescope, depending on if you're moving or the stars are moving. If you're moving, you have to tip the telescope more to keep it in the middle of the scope. Well, you didn't have to. And Airy knew it. He wrote about it, but did not comment on it. He didn't want to be the Benedict Arnold of science. So he gave the calculations and everything without comment. Smart. Waves need propagation material. So if the ether isn't there, what is? How does sunlight get to us from 93 million miles? Utter bullcrap. And then we have other things that we need to remember. The moon is not a ball. It's flat. Or it's a projection. How do we know this? We know this because if it was reflecting sunlight as a ball, like they say, you would have a bright spot in the middle, and as you got towards the edges, it would get darker. We get neither of those. It's just as bright on the edge as it is in the middle. It's either flat or it's a projection of some sort. A hologram, a simple projection. Who knows? We can see the freaking sky through it during the day. It's supposed to be solid rock. Why do the dark areas become blue when it's out during the day? It's because it's transparent, translucent. That would be the logical conclusion. So it's time to remind people of this and bring new people aboard. I think we're approaching a period where I think we're going to get some light with government and what they've done. Some, of course, they're not going to give us all. But when we get this, take the Russiagate thing that's happening now. Once that's finally exposed enough and it becomes the norm, and it already is because the vast majority of people are tuned into the right news people now, so to speak, or social media people that give you the truth, then that kind of breaks the matrix a little bit. Oh, I didn't know the government would lie to me about this. I didn't know they would do that. And so if they lied to me about this, are they lying to me about cosmology? Was my Bible right the whole time? And they don't even realize it. Before I was into flat Earth, before I was into it, not one scripture stood out to me as contradictory. And that's because you're just programmed. It's like I said when I was on the ship, weather office. Ships 90 miles away showing up on my radar. Our radar's only 96 feet off the ocean. 96 feet. And these are 80 miles away. And they're still on the radar. Well, how many people before you got into this, did you ever know what the curvature rate was? Isn't that funny how it's never taught to you? Never. I didn't know what it was until I got into this subject. 8 inches per mile squared. Well, that's wrong. You need to use this, the sine of this and the cosine of that and bullshit, blah, blah, blah. Fine. We'll use yours because yours actually is better for us. 8 inches per mile squared rips us off a little. Not much, but a little. They don't even know when they're stepping in their own crap. No, you have to use the cosine of this. Who was it? It was a famous channel that actually, I think it was the professor. Yes, it was. They don't even know what it is. They use 8 inches per mile squared. It's the sine of this and this and this, and this is the formula. I was like, okay, let's figure it out. I looked at it. The formula, based on a circle and whatever. It was like, yeah, that's right. I remembered enough mathematics from high school to say, yeah, that's right. So I do the math, and it's actually ripping us off. 8 inches per mile squared is ripping us off. It actually is more than 8 inches per mile squared with their formula. But we're the dumb ones because we use 8 inches per mile squared. How dumb can you be to give a formula that actually helps flat earthers when you're a globe believer? But you have people like Jaron, and this is just speculation. He's not making money on flat earth anymore. Nobody really is. It died out. How did it die out? Well, the algorithms from YouTube and from everybody else, they shadow banned everybody or took your channel down like they did mine. Because we talk about all truth. We don't just talk about one thing, or at least I don't. There's a whole lot of things we've been lied to, like almost everything. And so I think they want the gravy train again. Why not switch? You go to the peninsula in Antarctica. You don't take a freaking sextant. It's like, I don't know. It's like going to school and not bringing a pencil or a pen. It's so freaking basic. And none of them thought to bring it. They talked about going on that trip for months, and it never even dawned on them to take a sextant, a $5 tool you can get. You can get these angle things, glue a straw to the end of it, a few dollars, and hold it up, tilt it up to the sun. It'll give you the angle. Electronic sextant. You don't even have to have something dangling down to measure. It'll give you the digital number on the side. And they didn't think to take it. I don't know that, but that strikes me as strange at the very least. And then to come to the conclusion, whatever your sky observation is, that proves the shape of the earth is, don't want to use that word. No, I'm going to use the word. I don't mean any disrespect by it. It's retarded. It's retarded thinking. True. It's slow thinking. So slow that you don't even realize the leap year of faith you're making. It would be the same like in Christianity where you say, Christ died and he rose from the dead, and there was no witnesses. There was no witnesses in history to the resurrection. Nobody was ever killed because they said he, whatever. It's just a story. It's the same equivalent. You don't even have a sextant to show where you're. And again, they talked about it so far in advance that I don't know, maybe somebody who follows it, but if they were 6 months at least talking about this, and I think that's at least right, because people were asking me, are you going to go on this trip, Rich? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And it was a long way away when I first heard about it. They could have gone to Alaska, because they damn sure didn't go to the Antarctic Circle, according to all the research I've done. Yeah, you can go to Antarctica, but you cannot get to the Arctic Circle and South unless you're in one of two exclusive categories, and they ain't in it, either one. They're not military, and they're not these super duper scientists on some sanctioned scientific expedition, usually sponsored by a country, is what I was getting. And so these are 4 people, was it? They're going to go to Antarctica. Oh, we need permission to go to the to more than 60 some south. Why? We want to show that the Earth is flat or not. Yeah, okay. Enjoy the peninsula. And again, if they could have staged it in there, yeah, they could have proven it by doing live sextant readings. Live. Give a news story that happened today, and then give us the sextant reading. Nothing. Again, that would be the first thing I would think of. For another reason, too. If the sun is shining through a firmament, which it is, and it's angled, which it is when it's that far north or south, do the angles hold up to what it would be with a globe or not? I don't think it's the same. But, I mean, again, you look up rainbows. What is the angle of a rainbow? Whatever. It'll give you the number, but it's a false. It's only true in the middle latitudes. At a certain latitude, it's true. The further you get away from that latitude, the more that number's off. Has anybody ever seen rainbows at different latitudes? They're way different. They get way smaller the farther south and north you get. But the science says they're all the same. And again, let's just say they were there and they saw a 24-hour sun. Great. Now, since you don't know what the model is, what are the options? It could be a ball. True. It could be looking through a firmament at a low angle where the whole area, no matter where you are in the Antarctic, is always going to have a sun because of how it shines through on the angle. And that's been shown by people that if you take the sun angle and you keep lowering it, and there's a glass over top of a flat surface, as it gets closer to the edge, it starts to shine all around the whole edge. Everywhere around that edge, you can see the sun. Demonstrated. It can be repeated and demonstrated. So, okay, you're the only ones that have actually seen the 24-hour sun and documented it. Why nobody else can, I don't know, but you 4 guys did. You got special permission from the Antarctic Committee or whatever it is to be like super duper scientists or military, and you're going to go below the Antarctic Circle. Okay. First, I don't buy that. But let's just say they did. Again, they proved you can't prove the shape of what you're standing on by looking up at the sky. Unless the sky is reflecting the entire part of everything you're standing on. And it's not. To come to that conclusion, whether you're a flat earther or a ball earther or something in between, because there are people in between, it's idiocy. It's not following any scientific standard whatsoever. Wolf Bear, I think I saw that demo. The guy had a physical model that he built. Pretty cool. Yes. You probably saw the one I saw, Wolf Bear. And he did it several times. And as soon as it got low, the whole ring got lit up. You got it. Never mind. 8 inches per mile squared is a reasonable approximation for short distances. And here's the deal. We can't see the far distances, so it doesn't matter. That's another one of their arguments. Well, once you get out 400, 500 miles, it falls apart. Well, great. I can't see that far anyway, so what's it matter? I can see 20 miles. I can see 30 miles. It's extremely accurate for that. And as Nevermind says, it slightly favors the ballers. Not by much, but it's slightly. But they'll grab onto the straw man argument. Oh, you're using the wrong formula. You have to use the sign of whatever. Okay, but you're going to be screwed even more because we see too far. Oh, and Neil deGrasse Tyson, one of his proofs is that ships disappear over the horizon. And you think he's an actual scientist? Ships disappear over the horizon. You can go, this is him. You can go out and look, watch the ship. It'll go out and it'll disappear. What more proof do you need? Have you ever heard of a P900 camera zooming in and brings it right back? The whole thing? So if you're going to use that as a test, then the earth is flat. And again, the ship disappears around 7 miles out. Okay, how come when you're flying at 40,000 feet and you can see hundreds of miles, you see no curvature? But there's tons at 7 miles. Give me a stinking break. And we, not scientists, we understand atmospherics, how it works. We understand how the eye sees and how the farther away it actually shrinks, the way our eyes interpret everything. Again, here's an example I've used because I think it's a good example. I can go to Las Vegas Boulevard in Las Vegas. And Las Vegas Boulevard is flat. There's no hills in it. I mean, maybe there is one as you get towards Henderson. I don't know. But when you're in Vegas and you get to the first hotel and you see that last hotel all the way at the end, it's tiny and it looks like it's on the horizon, ready to disappear. And as you get closer and closer and closer, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until when you get in front of it, you're looking up at it like this. It's how we freaking see. It's how our eyes interpret. It's how we learn how far away something is because, oh, it's small and it looks like it's down on the horizon. If you ever are at a beach or somewhere where you have at least 180-degree view and the wind's in the right direction, so an aircraft flies left to right, it'll appear first on the horizon like it's rising. When it gets overhead, you're looking straight up at it. When it goes all the way to the right, it looks like it's sinking, and then it disappears behind the ocean. It must have crashed. It's how we see. I don't think the plane took off from it wasn't a seaplane. It didn't have those sleds on it so it could take off. It was at 35, 40,000 feet the whole time. So what's up, peoples? We got 24 people here. That's pretty amazing for not having streams very often. So expect more flat earth stuff. Again, if you haven't seen it, please look at it. The video I uploaded before this live stream a week or two ago, the clowns of Antarctica. And again, because it was short, I couldn't go into the research I did, which says nobody gets to the Antarctic Circle. Not them and not those clowns. And they could have seen a 24-hour sun even if they weren't there, because in the model where the sun is going through a glass or a firmament, it can happen before you even get that far low. Oh, but I guess they didn't take that into consideration. Maybe they could have told really easily if the angle of the sun didn't match what it should at that altitude, or maybe it did, who knows? But they never took the equipment, the simple, cheap equipment, to be able to tell. But they're the only ones. They got a 24, I think they have a 24-hour non-time lapse sun video. And I think it's in 3 different parts. I could be wrong. That could be by somebody else. Great. What's the angle of that sun? Again, all you had to do was say, all right, today DC was nationalized by Trump. And today at 10 a.m., the sun is this high up. That would verify the time, and it would verify the date. And the angle should verify where they are on the earth. So freaking simple and cheap. And it didn't even dawn on one of the 4 to do it. Does anybody know any one of the 4? Are they halfway scientific? Again, it would have been the first thing I thought of. Got to have a sextant. And then I would have to prove what day it was by some news event that happened that day. Very simple. Doesn't take a brain surgeon. Karen B was invited to debate Duffy, so today she did a farewell video to Duffy. I don't know who Duffy is. That one of the 4 that went there? Instead, providing him documents that Duffy is unable to think, basically. I don't know who Duffy is. Will Duffy Jazz an upcoming live stream open invite for anyone to question him? I'm not going to hop on the stream, but if someone here does, ask me why didn't they think of bring the most simple freaking thing, a sextant, and then call out a news event that happened that day and record the time and say, see, it matches. Even then, even if it all lined up, how in the hell does that prove the shape of what you're standing on when you don't know the model? I know somebody broke into Google Earth. You go up and up and up and it starts curving. He showed in the data that it's not curved at all. They add an algorithm to it to make it start curving. It's all flat data, all of it. Not only that, but they were hiding 5% of the north and 15% of the south. How does he know? Because he saw the data. Guy from England broke into it. So the simple question is, how can you look up in the sky and know scientifically the shape of the earth? Because you believe their model? That makes no sense. So we live on a ball, then it's obviously got to be spinning. And so I want somebody, I'm going to ask this to my physics nephew also. How does a geostationary satellite, which means if it's over Arizona and we're spinning and turning and moving 8,000 miles an hour in a certain direction, and even faster than that in another going around the Milky Way galaxy, how does this piece of crap, no fuel, no way to adjust itself, although they say there is with the ones that have helium. Anyway, how does it keep up with the Earth? How does it know to accelerate when the Earth accelerates during the acceleration time of year and decelerate during the deceleration time of year? And the earth turns. It makes turns. How does it know to make a turn? Oh, I'm sure the answer I'll get is, oh, the earth gravity pulls it. You can't, you have multiple, 5 that I know of. 5 that I know of. Scientific, demonstrable, repeatable things that have been done that show that the earth does not move. And again, Einstein blocked out 4 of them right away by saying, oh, well, you're never going to get it because it just happens to shrink. Relativity, it happens to shrink in the direction of the movement. I think he was talking about his penis. Anyway, sorry. And it just happens to, yeah, if it's supposed to shrink 3/4 of an inch, it just so happens that's what it shrinks. So you're never going to show movement. But it didn't answer Airy's failure. Airy's failure is simple. It's repeatable. Any scientist can repeat Airy's failure tonight, as long as they understand angles of a telescope and what direction to point in. They have to have some basic astronomy. That's it. Never been repeated. Wonder why. And if they answer the geostationary satellite, okay, what about the ones that aren't geostationary? What about the ones that rotate around the Earth? How do they speed up and slow down when the Earth speeds up and slows down each year? How do they turn with the Earth? As it goes around in its circle, or is it this? They show you both models. How does it corkscrew with the Earth? There's no latency there with gravity. Even Elon Musk let it slip. His Starlink satellites. He said they're all in low Earth orbit. By definition, that means they're in the atmosphere. They're in the atmosphere. They are not any higher up than the women who went up in the capsule and claimed they went into orbit like John Glenn. Yet they landed right back where they were. How come that happens? They pop out of the atmosphere. We're told or we're shown them floating like it's no longer gravity. They're at the Kármán line, self-admitted, which means edge of the atmosphere. That's BS. There's no edge of the atmosphere until you hit the freaking firmament. But we'll give it to them. They're at the edge of the atmosphere. They're floating. Okay. Gravity's not affecting you. And obviously the atmosphere isn't pushing you. There is no atmosphere, or so extremely low, it isn't going to push you. But you want to know where that freaking thing's going to land? They're up there for whatever, let's say 2 minutes in that no atmosphere floating mode. Gravity isn't affecting them. The atmosphere isn't affecting them. Meanwhile, the Earth's turning at 1,000 miles per hour. Well, where they were, it was about 880 miles per hour. And I don't know the exact number, but I think I computed it out. 40 some miles, 50 some miles, the Earth should have turned under them. No, what happens? It lands exactly where it's supposed to land, minus or plus a little bit. They look at the upper air winds to see where it's going to blow it some. That's all. No account for Earth rotation. None. Not one military aircraft, not one military weapon, submarine, ship, laser, nothing. No gun. Nothing takes into account Earth curvature or Earth movement. Intercontinental ballistic missiles. They don't take into consideration that by the time it gets there, the Earth will have turned and moved hundreds, if not thousands of miles. Nope, it's not even taken into consideration. And I'm talking about before this, supposing now everything's smart, so it's GPS, so that's how it knows where to go. Okay, well that's only recent. Nuclear bombs in the 1950s and 60s, they didn't have that. The intercontinental ballistic missiles were okay. We point it 242 degrees north and make sure it's got enough powder to go 2,500 miles, and it'll land in Moscow. Meanwhile, they're supposedly going up into space. No atmosphere. Earth is turning underneath them. And since they're above the atmosphere, they're like all the astronauts. No gravity. Curvature isn't taken into effect. Nothing's taken into effect. No curvature, no movement. No weapon in any military in the world takes into effect curvature or movement. And the two times that I believe I know, one I know for sure, the two times they tried to do that, it effed it up. It screwed it up. Again, World War I. I can't wait till I eventually come across it again, because I'm going to clip it and put it on here. The Germans got so good at shooting missiles into France from long distances that they decided to hit a certain target, except they would have to aim a little bit higher, and they took the Earth's curvature into consideration because it was further away. Well, until they took the Earth's curvature into consideration, they had no problems with this weapon. They took the Earth's curvature in, and they missed. They hit a church. Last time they used it, Earth curvature, they took it out. And supposedly some joker came on here, I can't verify it, and said that on U.S. Navy ships in the 1950s, they took into account Coriolis so that they could hit their target. Okay, great. Why don't they use that today? I've been in the Navy. Long after that, they don't use any Coriolis anything. Are you kidding me? No Coriolis. And if they can't see physically the target, they get it on radar or whatever. There's no correction for curvature of the Earth or movement. None. This guy went on talking about they used it. Okay, great. Why don't they still use it then? Because it sucks. Because you're putting something on there that won't work. You're saying the Earth moves or curves, and it doesn't. Nobody leads a ship in the distance with a rail gun because Coriolis is going to bend it back. And then you got idiots like Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's a propagandist, talking about there was a football game where it barely made it, a kick barely made it through the field goal poles. And he was like, the curvature of the Earth and the orientation of the stadium allowed him to make that goal. Otherwise, it would have hit it and missed. Come on. Again, I'm into baseball. If that was the case, as soon as a ball was hit, it would curve big time because the Earth is turning. You would have Coriolis on it. Doesn't happen. The only time you get a curve in a ball that's hit is if it has spin to the left or right because it was hit off the end of the bat, or let's say a right-handed hitter hitting it to the opposite field. And then it'll tend to slice away just like a golf ball. And that's why you'll never see again the guy on the moon hit the golf ball with the original audio. Because the guy made a joke. He hit a golf ball on the moon. And the other guy said, oh, that's quite a slice. You can't get a slice if there's no atmosphere. The atmosphere and the spin of the ball working on that atmosphere causes a slice. No atmosphere, no slice. I don't care how fast it's spinning. You can't get that original audio anymore. I wonder why. And then you have morons that argue with me for months on here, remember? About Coriolis. And that's what causes tornadoes and hurricanes to spin counterclockwise in the north and clockwise in the south. And I'm like, okay. The real reason, just to let you know, is cold air is to the north. We're talking about the northern hemisphere. Cold air comes in from the north, hotter air to the south. You reverse that in the south, the spin is going to be different. It's just how the atmosphere moves, how cold air advances and hot air advances or retreats. That's all that is. And because it's most of the time, you're going to get that. But if it is Coriolis, you would never, ever, ever, ever have an exception. You're going to get an exception if warmer air is where the cold air should be, and vice versa. And you get those exceptions. So I show a video of a tornado spinning clockwise in the northern hemisphere. And so what was the excuse? Well, that's not big enough. It's got to be like a big storm or a hurricane. So I get a video of low pressure over South America, way bigger than a hurricane, huge. And it's spinning counterclockwise like it should in the north, but it's in the south. There's exceptions. You cannot have an exception if it's Coriolis, because that's what causes it. If the spin of the earth, moving left to right or whatever, is the cause, it would never reverse. But there's exceptions. He claims, no, I didn't see that video. He was wrong on the freaking live stream when I showed it. He didn't see it. If it's a physics force, if Coriolis existed. And then you have these other idiots that believe, and he said this too, nobody believes that, Rich. Nobody believes if you go down to the equator and you move and you have a basin and you move it 10 feet north and pour water in, it goes clockwise or counterclockwise. And in the south, you move it back to the equator, you do the same thing, and it doesn't spin in there at all. And then you go 10 feet to the south and it spins the other way. He said, nobody believes that. So I showed the video. People paid to watch a demonstration of it. It looks like they paid anyway. And that's what a woman does. She walks 10 feet to the north. How thick is the equator? How thick is the equator? Is it 10 feet, 1 feet, 1 inch? She just happens to be perfect. And the force changes as soon as you move 10 feet, one side or the other. That should be red line number 1 right there. And then you had that idiot, Ken, what was his name? The preacher that went to jail. Came out, never heard of flat earth when he went in. When he came out, it was a big deal. And he took a position without any fundamental thinking about it. And he couldn't stop then. Pride. He believed it. He was like, you can see the video. You can go down there yourself and see Coriolis. It's like, oh my goodness. These people are just freaking retarded. They're self-retarded is what it is. Because here's the deal. If you hold on, Ken Hovine, thank you, never mind. And Mark Harris, thank you. How can you be that stupid? And doesn't Ken Hovine have a doctorate degree or something? Maybe he doesn't. But he explains science. He can explain creation well. But because he wasn't here when Flat Earth came out, he had his programming still. So he comes out and sees all this, immediately rejects it, and then tries to use scriptures to back it up. I had never heard one scripture that he ever gave, and he tried some that made sense. I was like, what are you doing? you're looking even more like a fool. And he was so stupid with it. He was like, well, I should be able to stand in New York City then and look east and see the Eiffel Tower. Was the guy born 2 days ago? You can be in New York City and not see the other side of New York City if the atmosphere isn't right. And he had a scientist on there, a flat earth, a traditional scientist. And he corrected him. He said, Ken, no, they have that right. You can only basically see 30 miles. And that's a lie, too, because if the circumstances are right, you can see beyond 30 miles. You know that. He was like, no, they have that right, Ken. The atmosphere, it's it's got humidity, it's got dust, it's got whatever, salt. You can only see so far. His face was priceless. He was like, he's being contradicted. That's his big proof. Oh, and I should be able to turn west and see the Rockies. UDU. He's a UDU graduate. UDUM University. KG Bear, hello. Better late than never. Exact same argument by Bill Nye. What, the looking, you should be able to see the Eiffel Tower or whatever. Utter stupidity. Utter stupidity. Hello, Oof. Good to see you. We can only stream for 28 more minutes because I don't have the paid version of Streamline anymore. You know what's interesting? It didn't put the. Do you guys see the Streamline logo on the presentation? I don't see it this time. It was here last time. Anyway, we're limited to 2 hours. I'm probably not going to make it 2 hours anyway. I'm extremely hot sitting here. Till night. The mechanical engineer guy. Oh. When you had Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson as your main representatives, and the fact that people think they are smart, articulate, give you truth, shows you how dumbed down the American people are because they can't critically think. Blue bar in corners. Oh, I see no logo. Interesting. Thank you, Real Flat Earther. Hey, have you talked to Paraplegic Bear? I'm wondering if he's doing okay. Last I texted him, he said he was super busy doing coffee. Oh, yeah, that little blue bar. That's supposed to be my name, and I didn't put anything in there, so it still puts it on the screen. The other one, it would, when you're paid, it doesn't require it, I guess. I don't know. But then you have downgrades from that. Simon Dan. We're talking falling off the cliff downgrades from trash to start with. And the professor, never a professor, and never a Simon. And when he was doing stuff, Simon Dan, when he was doing stuff against me, it wasn't even worth going up against. It was so stupid. And I'm like, if people want to believe what he's saying, fine. Like I said, the one thing I started to reply to was, and I did do a reply, I think it was live on a stream. He was pointing out Tahu Braki and how great a scientist he was. And he says, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you're supposed to be a science guy. You're pointing out as your hero a guy who was a geocentrist. He believes the earth is round, but he believes it doesn't move and we're the center of the universe. Not exactly your position, so I don't know why you're pointing this guy out as your hero. Woke Bear, I've heard paraplegic in some comments elsewhere recently. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to text him again just to make sure he's okay. In case you didn't know or hear, he lost his girlfriend to cancer. I guess it's been a couple months ago now. Okay, so let's. I'm about fried here in the heat. So let me look at my calendar. So look for more videos, and if you haven't seen the one, look at it. It's called "The Clowns of Antarctica," and let me know if you want more like that, or should I do longer or whatever. I kind of like the short format, but again, there's stuff I have to leave out. Like nobody goes where they said they go, not in their position. Sorry. Unless you can show otherwise, they should be able to show permission that they were given. And you need the permission. Okay. Depends on the weather. What time is this appointment? Ooh. It'll be Monday or Friday next week if it's not blistering hot. Let me see what the forecast is. 101 to 103. It's possible. So we'll try to do at least one next time. Next week. Oh, I saw that on the radar. Man, I hope it makes it here. We need something to cool it off. This is the first time since I've lived here in 2008 that I haven't, at least where I am in Mesa, Arizona, not one monsoon thunderstorm, not one. And it's usually July 1st. I mean, it's like set your calendar by it. Has not happened this year. Let's see what we got on the radar. It's like all around, but just never gets here. Get off the screen. Yeah, actually, you're West Phoenix. You have a storm system that's actually developing right on top of you. So how big it gets, we'll have to see. Yeah, monsoon. I like it. I like it, a monsoon. Oh no, well, we definitely have to end because since I don't have the paid version of this, it ends at 2 hours max. And I have to go. I don't want to even describe how badly I'm sweating. I don't sweat in the front too much. My back is just a river of water going down. I don't know if I ever told you guys. I have a sweating issue. I rarely sweat, but I had some neurological symptoms going on, and I had a neurologist give me a sweat test. And what they do is they put these, they tape these, I don't know, probes, I guess, on your whole body, your upper body, your lower body, and then they make the probes hot. They whatever they do, they make them hot, and then the probes or the device measures your sweat, how you respond to the sweat. And I was only sweating normally on one half of the body, especially the lower body, my legs. I was like the right leg would sweat when it should, but the left leg wouldn't, something like that. And so anyway, he said, I'll get back to you. He wanted to look at the data. He never got back to me. Sort of like people to come and work on my car. They never got here. I've been waiting for a while. Anyway, that's sort of the story of my life. Just people don't show up. Anyway, I ended up calling him like a month later. I'm like, you were supposed to call, and he looks up the records and goes, oh yeah, I talked to my colleagues. The only thing we can come up with is you have MS, multiple sclerosis. I said, well, first of all, thanks for telling me, because you didn't. And I knew it was bullcrap, because I knew people with MS, unfortunately. I was like, that's not me. And he's like, well, you can tell for sure with a blood test, but insurance doesn't cover it. And I was really super poor then, like almost like I am now, except I have health coverage now. And I was like, no. So that was 10 years ago. No multiple sclerosis. I wish I would not have allowed my brother to talk me into this air conditioner here. It's one of those floor air conditioners, got hoses to go out, or a hose. Does not do the job. And the window unit I had before it went bad, it would almost blow you down across the room when it turned on. But man, it kept the room cold. And thank God in my bedroom it's cold now. But the bedroom one, which is far away, 100 some feet away at least. Is that right? Yeah, I guess so. It's helping cool this room. Did my sewer line dilemma get permanently solved? Yes. That was weird. That's been a long time ago now. What it was is it was their fault because it was a broken pipe below the ground. So anything below the ground is, it's the people I rent from, the ground rent. And so they had to fix it. But there was leaks and stuff because they sent shoddy plumbers out, and it was like spraying up into my house. And so I documented everything, but nothing ever happened as far as like I didn't start getting warping or some kind of damage from the water. But they got it fixed. But they stuck me with it at first. And then it took months, but I finally got them to reimburse me. And when the guy called, the property manager, he said, well, we're going to reimburse everything except for, it wasn't the labor, it was the parts or something. He said, because you should have come to the office before you called a plumber. Because I called a plumber, because of what was going on. And we would have determined, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, call the woman that's working in the office and she'll tell you I came there and they told me to call a plumber. He puts me on hold. He comes, oh, I'm sorry. We're going to reimburse you the whole thing. Everybody's always trying to rip you off. So yes, well, it got solved. This stuff I went through with my car. It kind of, I'm in a bad situation with money, and I couldn't come up with a solution to be able to drive like I said, I could drive my car. I don't even think I explained it. I could drive my car hot. I don't care. I mean, I do, but without an air conditioning. But the drive belt and something else is connected to this clutch, and they said it could ruin the car. I think I did say that. So I can't drive it, period. And anyway, people weren't showing up. They weren't even communicating with me. We'll be there 8 in the morning. Okay. 8 in the morning comes, never heard anything. Nobody showed up. This happened a few times. And then, like I said, the other people that I could either have it towed to or whatever, it was twice as much and I couldn't afford it. And I got to the point where I don't even know how to describe it. I almost cracked mentally. And I don't even know how to describe it. There was one time in my life I had a panic attack, and this wasn't like that as far as exactly, but there were similarities. I even for a short period of time was suicidal, and I'm talking a very compressed time, like hours. But I really thought I was losing my mind. I was so stressed about everything, and nothing was working, and I had no solutions. And anyway, it was that was just a couple of days ago. So I'm getting parts this Monday. I just have to find somebody to do the work now, and for the price I can afford, and I think I'll be able to find it. So. No, it's not an Accord. I never had an Accord. I have a close though. I can understand why you would say it. It's a Toyota Camry, and I've got the base model 4-cylinder 2011. And for whatever reason, the parts for that one are more expensive than the bigger engines, and the labor's more. I've heard all kind of different stuff with the labor too, all over the place. You have to take the bumper off and the radiator, and then other people are like, no, you don't. So I'm anti-mechanical, trust me. I barely can handle a screwdriver. I'm just kind of kidding, but you know what I mean. Really, Tony, that would be awesome to know that information. Let me give you my email. I'd give you the Thrive and Survive one, but I can't. Google can't find that one. I'd appreciate that, Tony. There's my email address right there. I have towing for 10 miles. I can actually have it towed to wherever. I just can't find a place to tow it to that I can do it for a decent price. Just to let you know, I've had prices from total now $1,200 to $2,600 for the same job. And I've had two people tell me, well, you have to replace the whole AC thing, which I got all the part. I got everything. The condenser, the compressor, the kit, whatever. Because they're like, well, because that clutch, it's a bearing and the clutch is engaged or whatever, there could be metal shreds in the oil. And my understanding is that's air conditioning oil that could clog up the system if you don't replace the whole thing. I don't know. I've heard people that I trust say that's bull crap, and other people say no, that's true. And I've had people that I trust say no, you don't have to take the bumper off for that car or the radiator. And then two others say yeah, you have. I don't know. It's just that was probably part of my mental breakdown because I don't know the subject. I just don't. I mean, they could tell me they need to use dog manure to fix it. And I'd probably like, okay. Fantastic, Tony. I greatly appreciate it. You guys always come through. Always. So anyway, look for, I got to sign off because we're going to be abruptly shut down in 11 minutes if I don't. Look for more videos. Particularly, I'm going to focus more in on flat Earth. I'll still be talking about other subjects. And I would appreciate the feedback. Because like I said, I can do different formats, short, whatever. I sort of like the long shorts. Like, it's hard to explain anything in 60 seconds, but YouTube allows up to 3 minutes now. On shorts, and that's pretty decent. Thank you, Mr. Super. I appreciate it. Thanks to everybody here. Thank you so much. It was very nice catching up again. I will do my best. Trust me, I will do my absolute best to make sure we have at least one day next week we do this again. And if it's going to be in the low 100s, I can do this again and I can sweat it out for a couple hours or an hour, whatever it is. But like I said, we were going to do it Friday because the temperatures were supposed to be in the 90s, but I won't be here as it turns out. I don't have a car and Michael's coming to get me. And it's a long story why I'm going to his house, but there's a reason. And I mean, one day I might be not my car, but somebody else's car with air conditioning. I could do just a stream on my phone. Who knows? So God bless everybody. Thanks for being here. I can't believe we got up to 30 people, and I haven't been here forever. So it's you guys are loyal. I appreciate that greatly. And well, thank you, Michael B. I appreciate it. You too, Woke Bear. Thank you, Tony. I will be calling. I got a good feeling. All right, guys, you take care, and I'll be back before too long. It won't be the time periods should be getting shorter, and as we get into cooler weather, it'll definitely get shorter. So God bless. Take care, and pray for one another. Everybody that's on the stream and people that we know. So take care and see you next time, guys.